everyone, welcome to Jessie's Corner, your friendly guide into the world of sewing. This is a space where I take you step by step on the cutting process and also helping complete beginners understand that sewing can be simple, easy and enjoyable. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you how I made this beautiful Iro and buba for kids. I'll be showing you how to get the measurements and the cuttings right. So get your fabrics and let's create. Now the measurement you need for making this is your neck measurement, your bust measurement, the full length of your top, your sleeve length, and also your round sleeve. That's all the measurements you need. Now we are using a lace fabric and an Ankara fabric. So let's get started. So I have my measurements written down here. So for her bust, I have her bust 25. Now this is for a 6-year-old. Her bust 25. I'm going to add 10 inches to that bust 25 to give me 35. All right. So that 35 divided by 4, whatever I get is what I'm going to use for all the measurement from the bust, the waist, and the hip area, from the top to the bottom. All right. So you can do this even for an adult buba. Or you can also use this measurement that's 25 plus 2 inches, okay, for the measurement. Whichever one also works, but I prefer using this method. So we have our fabric on fold. I folded it into 4 and I take that 8.75 measurement, which I got from the division of 35 by 4. All right. That's what I took for the horizontal measurement. Now for the vertical measurement, I'm just going to get the full length of my top. Okay. And I added 2 inches allowance. Now you can use any amount of folding allowance you need. Okay. Now that's the second measurement we are taking. The third measurement we are taking is our neck depth and our neck width. Now for a buba like this, your neck depth and your neck width is always the same. Okay, so I'm using 2.5 inches for both the depth and the width. Okay, I don't want it to be too wide or too small, so 2.5 should be okay for a 6-year-old. All right, so we measure and we cut out. All right, so these 2.5 inches I mentioned. Now you notice that some kids are on a bigger size than some other kids. Some kids tend to be slimmer, some tend to be bigger. Okay, so you watch the kid you're making this dress for. If it's for a bigger child, I think you should increase the neck maybe by ½ inch. All right, so you can use 3 by 3 inches for a bigger, that's for a plumpy child. All right, so let's cut it out. So you see how I cut it out straight. There is no shaping, no nothing. Okay, so we took everything straight down and now we are cutting the neck. I'm cutting both the front and the back neckline together. I also forgot to mention the full length of the top I made here. Her full top length is 22 inches. All right. Now for the sleeve, I'll also have my fabric on fold into 4. Now into 4 means we are cutting both sides together, both the left side and the right side of the sleeve together. Okay. But when we fold it into 2, that means we're just cutting one. So we are cutting the 2 sleeves together. So her round sleeve is 6 inches. I added 3 inches to it, so it should give me 9 inches. So you can use this for whatever measurement you are making. If your actual round sleeve is 8 inches, now this 8 inches I'm talking about, that's divided by 2, because when we are cutting for sleeves, we usually measure by 2. So you add 3 inches to your measurement, okay, and we cut. That's for the round sleeve. Now for a little tricky part, for the sleeve length, okay, we measure out our shoulder from the basic bodice. Now this is the main shoulder, which is 5.5, and I have extra 3.5 inches remaining, which is also part of the sleeve. Okay, so her sleeve length is supposed to be 10 inches. Now this 3.5 inches here is also part of the sleeve. That means I'm not going to cut out 10 inches on the main sleeve, because when I do, it's going to be excess. So it will be 10 inches plus that 3 inches. That means the whole sleeve length will now automatically be 13 inches. So what I will do, I'm going to subtract 3.5 inches out of her actual sleeve length, which is 10 inches. I'm going to have 6.5 inches. So I'm going to cut 6.5 inches on the sleeve, then add my additional 2 inches for folding. I just hope I'm not confusing you. So look at what I'm saying. This I don't know if my pen is showing on the body. From there, I took my 10 inches. You can also do that. Place it on your material and just take your measurement and cut out. Okay, when you take that 8.75, you find out that 8.75 will be too much for the shoulder. Her shoulder is 5.5. Now that 8.75, when you minus 5.5 from 8.75, you see that we have excess. So now to cut the wrapper, you have your full length of her gown. If the full length of her gown is, let's say, 28, now you minus her half length from that 28, okay, and that gives us 17. So we are going to cut her wrapper, the length of her wrapper, to be 17. Length starts from her waist to her knee or wherever the wrapper stops. Okay, so we are cutting 17 inches plus extra 2 inches for folding allowance. Now for the width, in this video I used 1 yard for the whole length of the wrapper. You know for adults we use 2 yards and some inches, 2 yards and 12 inches. So for this I used 1 yard, but I later found out that it's going to be smaller after folding all the hem, so I added additional 18 inches. So I used 1.5 yard for this child for the complete wrapper that I cut for this hero and buba. 1.5, then plus the belt, extra belt that we usually add to tie at the back. So for the head tie, I used just half inches, all right, half yard for the length, and I used the full length of an Ankara fabric. That's what I used for the head tie. For the belt, I used 17 inches length and then 2 inches width. Okay, you notice this belt I'm cutting four. This is for 2 people actually, so I'm cutting it into 4. So for the width you can make it 2 inches, then for the length 17 inches, or as much as you want the length of your belt to be. All right, so after cutting it this way, when sewing it, you have to place it on fold and sew. Cover one side and the other side will be open. That's how you sew it and attach it to your wrapper. So this is the whole pieces that we've cut, and this is how it's supposed to look. The 2 sleeve on the buba, your wrapper, and your head tie, and that is it. You're good to go. Very simple and very easy to make. I lost a lot of the recordings on the sewing process, but I just want to show you through how I joined it, how it looked like after joining it. So this is all the hem, and this is where I attached the belt, one on this side and one on the other side as well. So this is me taking the measurement to show you the main measurement after joining. After joining for the bigger child, this is for a 6-year-old, I have 18 inches, and the belt I have 17.5 inches for the wrapper. I also make an inner wear for them too. So the inner wear, basically you can use the same measurement you use for the bubu top. It's just a free inner wear, okay, because I made a lace fabric, so obviously it's going to be a see-through. So I made an inner wear for it, and that is that. Look how beautiful it came out and very neat. Tell me if you will try this next. You can drop all your questions or anything you don't understand in this video. I'll always be here to answer and put you through any of that. Thank you and see you next time. Bye.